Today on the One Pot Chef Show, I'm going to be sharing with you a fantastic classic Australian dessert called Pavlova. If you've never heard of Pavlova, think of it as this. It's a giant cake-sized meringue topped with fresh whipped cream and fruit. It's absolutely divine. It's delicate, it's fruity, it's delicious and very, very sweet. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. So today, it's Pavlova on the One Pot Chef. Now, a lot of people think of Pavlova as one of these complicated desserts that is incredibly difficult to do, and why bother making it when you can go and buy it at the shop and just do it that way? Well, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Pavlova. Yes, it can be a little complicated, especially if you don't have an electric mixer like I do. You can do it by hand, but boy, will you have strong arm muscles afterwards. But having an electric mixer certainly makes it a lot easier and a lot simpler. So I'm going to show you how to do it the very simple way. First of all, into our electric mixer bowl, I'm going to put 8 egg whites. I've just separated 8 eggs and got rid of the yolks. I'll just put it straight in. Complicated, wasn't it? Then all we're going to do is pop this in, and we're going to beat it until it starts to go nice and white and foamy. As you can see there, that started to go kind of foamy. What we're going to do now is start to slowly put the sugar in. This is 2 cups of Castor sugar, or baker's sugar, very, very fine refined sugar. So we're going to start the beater off, and we're going to start slowly adding it until it's all completely mixed in and dissolved. There, you can see that stopped being foamy now, and it's just become this sort of glossy white goo. It's still kind of runny though, but we've still got to add a couple of things. First of all, we're going to add about 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now I'm not measuring, I'm just going to put a blob in and sort of see how we go. That looks about right, I might just put a drop more. Lovely. And we're also going to add a pinch of cream of tartar. Now, cream of tartar is a baking agent. Basically what it does is it makes the crispy shell on the outside just that little bit extra crispy. So we want about a pinch of it. Now, that's not an exact amount, but probably about ½ a teaspoon if you want to measure. If you can't find cream of tartar, you can use 2 teaspoons of corn flour instead. So we're just going to mix that through until it becomes really stiff. There we go. Now that's what I mean about stiff, because it's no longer sort of liquid anymore. It's got that sort of firmness. It doesn't come off. Well, at least it takes a while for it to come off. That's the consistency we're looking for. Tongue-tied. So basically now all we're going to do is transfer this onto our baking sheet. Now as you can see on my baking tray, I've got 2 overlapping pieces of baking paper. Now, the reason I do that is because the bottom of the Pavlova will stick to the paper. So when you want to actually take the paper off to put it onto a serving plate, it makes it that much easier to get off when you have it like this. So basically all we're going to do is spoon this onto the tray in blobs until we get one giant blob that's roughly cake-shaped, and we can use a spatula to sort of shape it a bit better until it's at the right consistency. As you can see, it's roughly cake-shaped, so I'm just using a spatula to sort of smooth out the sides, and we're just going to roughly flatten the top. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect or anything. Sort of just so it has a roughly flat top so we can put all that lovely cream and fruit on top. That's looking just about right there, so that looks good. Okay. So that looks good there. That goes into our preheated oven. Now you preheat the oven to 180 degrees, but before you put your Pavlova in, you need to drop the temperature to 150 degrees. Basically, if you have it too hot, it's going to burn. Now, this is going in for 1 hour. You pop it in for an hour. Once you get to the hour point, you need to turn the oven off, open the door slightly to let the heat out, but just let the pavlova sit there for a while until it starts to cool. As you can see, our pavlova has now come out of the oven. I let it sit in the oven for approximately 20 minutes to half an hour, just to allow it to cool off a bit in its own time. You can see it's sort of cracked a little bit, but that's kind of how it always comes out anyway. It's very hard to make it absolutely perfect, and I think the best thing about pavlova is that it's not perfect. So we're just going to let it sit there and cool for a little bit longer. In the meantime, we're going to make the cream to go on top. Into our mixer bowl, we're going to put approximately 300 ml of thickened cream. Yum. I'm going to pop that in, and we're going to whip it up, and while whipping it up we're going to add 1/4 cup of Castor sugar. This will turn it into a really sort of thick whipped cream, almost like a icing or a frosting. Just makes it absolutely perfect. I've transferred the pavlova over to a big serving plate, and you can see the it's cracked a bit more on top, but realistically it doesn't matter because the cream's going on top, which is going to cover it, and it'll all sort of bind together anyway. So we're just going to start plopping this beautiful thick cream on top, and we're just going to smooth it over. Now all that's left to do is to top it with some fresh fruit. Now some popular choices are mango, kiwi fruit, passion fruit pulp, but I like to keep it simple, so I'm just going to be decorating it with some pieces of strawberry. It's just absolutely delicious. And there is our finished pavlova dessert. Absolutely delicious. We've got that beautiful soft meringue inside with a crispy shell, mounds of thick cream, and the beautiful fresh strawberries on top. Could you ask for anything more delicious for a dessert? Well, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Check out my other videos at youtube.com/OnePotChefShow. Until next time, see you later.